This is Gina with RN2 Professors with a video for you for my OB series on hypertension disorder review questions. Let's get started. In this video, I'm going to review questions on hypertension disorders during pregnancy. I will show you how to determine what the question is asking and how to answer it. Here's our first question. The nurse is caring for a client who is at 24 weeks gestation. Which assessment requires further intervention? 1. Hemoglobin 11 and hematocrit 33, blood pressure of 130/80, patient has slight pedal swelling, urine dipstick for protein is 3+. In this question, you are provided with assessment data for the client in the answers. You need to determine what data requires intervention. Number 1. Hemoglobin 11 and hematocrit 33. For a pregnant female, a normal hemoglobin level is 12 to 16, with a minimum value of 10.5 grams per deciliter during the second trimester. Normal values of hematocrit range from 36 to 48% in women of childbearing age, with a 4 to 7% decrease during pregnancy. This makes the assessment data within normal limits and does not require any interventions. Number 2. Blood pressure of 130/80. Hypertension is defined as a systolic of 140 or higher and a diastolic of 90 or higher. This assessment data is within normal limits and does not require intervention. Number 3. Patient has slight pedal swelling. This assessment is within normal limits and does not require intervention. Number 4. Urine dipstick for protein is 3+. A protein level of 3+ is related to pre-eclampsia, and this does require further intervention. So number 4 is our answer. It is the only assessment that requires intervention. Next question. A nurse has just completed an assessment on a client with mild preeclampsia. Which data indicate that her preeclampsia is worsening? 1. Blood pressure of 155/95. 2. Urinary output is greater than 30 milliliters an hour. 3. Deep tendon reflexes of +2. And number 4, client complains of blurred vision. This is an analysis question. The question is asking you to give an answer that shows the patient's mild preeclampsia is getting worse. You will need to know the difference in signs and symptoms for mild preeclampsia versus severe preeclampsia. Number 1. Blood pressure of 155/95. This blood pressure is in the mild preeclampsia range. Severe preeclampsia has a blood pressure of 160/100 and higher. Number 2. Urinary output is greater than 30 mils an hour. This is a normal urine output. Patients with severe preeclampsia have decreased urinary output. Number 3. Deep tendon reflexes of +2. +2 deep tendon reflexes are considered normal. Severe preeclampsia would have a deep tendon reflex of +4. Number 4. Client complains of blurred vision. Blurred vision and headaches are signs of worsening preeclampsia. Number 4 is our answer. It is the only sign that the patient's preeclampsia is getting worse. Here's our next question. A 29-week gestation woman diagnosed with severe preeclampsia is noted to have blood pressure of 170/112, 4+ proteinuria, and weight gain of 10 pounds over the past 2 days. Which of the following signs and symptoms would the nurse also expect to see? 1. Fundal height of 32 centimeters. 2. Papilledema. 3. Plantar reflexes of +2. Or 4. Nystagmus. This is an analysis question. It is asking what clinical manifestations would you expect to see from the patient with the given assessment data. You need to follow the pathology to find this answer. Look at increased blood pressure with fluid retention. Number 1. Fundal height of 32 centimeters. The normal fundal height for 29 weeks should be 29 centimeters. You could expect to see a lower fundal height due to poor growth with severe preeclampsia, not an increase. Papilledema. Papilledema can be seen in patients with severe preeclampsia if increased cranial pressure is present. The optic disc swells due to increased cranial pressure, and papilledema can be seen with an ophthalmoscope. This looks like our answer, but you still need to review all of the answers before you make your final choice. Number 3. Patellar reflexes of +2. +2 patellar reflexes are normal. You would expect to see hyperreflexia in a patient with severe preeclampsia. Number 4. Nystagmus. This is not related to preeclampsia. Number 2, papilledema, is our correct answer. It is the only clinical manifestation related to severe preeclampsia. Here's our next question. A nurse is monitoring a client with severe preeclampsia who is receiving an infusion of magnesium sulfate. Assessment reveals a pulse rate of 55 minutes, respiration of 12 minutes, and a flushed face. What is the next nursing action? 1. Continue the infusion and notify the healthcare provider. 2. Stop the infusion and start an infusion of dextrose and water. 3. Continue the infusion and document the findings on the clinical record. Or 4. Decrease the rate of the infusion and obtain blood for magnesium level. This is a priority question. In this question, you need to analyze the assessment data given and know if it is normal or an adverse reaction to magnesium sulfate. Then you need to determine what is the first thing you need to do for this patient. Number 1, continue the infusion and notify the healthcare provider. This is contraindicated, and the continuation of the infusion will cause more severe CNS depression. The healthcare provider can be called after the infusion is stopped. Number 2, stop the infusion and start an infusion of dextrose and water, or DW5. This patient is showing signs of magnesium toxicity. The infusion should be immediately stopped, and the IV should be maintained because calcium gluconate may be prescribed. This definitely looks like our answer, but we still need to read the rest of the answers to make sure. Number 3, continue the infusion and document the findings on the clinical record. Again, this is contraindicated and can cause more severe CNS depression. Number 4, decrease the rate of the infusion and obtain blood for a magnesium level. Decreasing the rate of the infusion still has the infusion running, and that is contraindicated because it can still cause further CNS depression. Blood can be drawn after the infusion has stopped. Number 2, stop the infusion and start an infusion of DW5 is our only safe answer. And here is our last question. A client is in labor and delivery with a diagnosis of HELLP syndrome. The nurse notices the following blood levels. Prothrombin time, 99 seconds. Partial prothrombin time, 30 seconds. You can see the normals are listed right next to them. Your question is, for which of the following signs and symptoms would the nurse monitor the client? 1. Pink-tinged urine. 2. Early decelerations. 3. Plantar reflexes +1. Or 4. Blood pressure of 140/90. This is an analysis question. You need to determine clinical manifestations you would see in a patient that has the given labs. The normal ranges are given. Prothrombin time is 60 through 85 seconds. Partial prothrombin time is 11 through 15 seconds. What risks would a patient with prolonged PT and PTT times have? They would be more at risk for spontaneous bleeds. Which answer supports that risk? That is what we're going to be looking for. Number 1, pink-tinged urine. One risk of spontaneous bleeds is that the patient can develop DIC. Pink-tinged urine is something that the nurse should watch for. So this does look like we found our possible answer, but again, we need to look at all of the answers before we make our decision. Number 2, early decelerations. Early decelerations are normal during the first and second stages of labor, and they're not related to PT and PTT times. Number 3, patellar reflexes of +1. These are within normal range and are not related to the labs that are given. Number 4, blood pressure of 140/90. This is expected blood pressure for mild preeclampsia. Number 1 is our answer and is the only clinical manifestation that is related to our given labs. If you liked our video, please subscribe for free and hit the notification bell to get notified when our weekly videos are available. Leave a comment and let us know what you think. Thanks for joining me today.